Good evening and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. I'm Aaron and I am your Doom Master, and tonight we're going to be back with some Conan. Fortune is restored to my players. Their momentum is, as always, low. My Doom is, as always, high. So it's time to jump back into our Hyborian tales. We're going to start off with a little bit of a recap tonight, and then as we go along, we'll give the players an opportunity to introduce themselves and what they're thinking in the moment. So we're going to start tonight with Ashley, who was unable to join us a couple of weeks ago, but Aurelia was with us. So last time we saw Zamir bring the decanter of priceless liqueur out of Setenepre's chambers, secret them over to Aurelia, and hand them off, knowing that Aurelia knows where the Court of Beggars is. She took the decanter and snuck off, expertly making her way past the guards and the temple guardians and the priests of Set. There were so many more of them out on the grounds than there had been before. She went through the city, found her way back into the Court of Beggars and down to Grandmother Wisp. When she handed the decanter over, Grandmother Wisp smiled in a joy, a true joy. And in that moment, Ashley, tell us about Aurelia and tell us what she's thinking when she hands over the decanter to Grandmother Wisp.
Aurelia is feeling like she's a really good friend right now because she just locked it in for Zamir. This was our main goal, was to get this turned in. So Zamir, has that locked in. So she's feeling pretty pleased with herself, and seeing Grandmother Wisp is always a delight. But she is a little concerned about what they're getting into without her there. Yeah.
I like it. Then we're going to slide over to the tale of Sobek. Now, Sobek started out the episode escaping from the Temple of Set. Using his magics to charm his way past the guards, he entered into the palace district, snuck his way up to Setenepre's compound, and hid deep in the shadows. However, guards from the temples of Set, as the alarm bells and alarm gongs rang, started making their way through the cities, and he saw coming up the hill the torchlights of guards and priests and hounds, and he knew that he had to make his way into the compound if he was to hide amongst the crowds. As he approached, he saw Zamir and Roya climbing up onto the atrium. He looked and decided to go for a swim in the pool instead. He had a wonderful time and managed to murder the orgy murderer who was trying to kill him. But unfortunately, as he was getting out, he was spied by the very torturer who he was trying to escape. And he was once again imprisoned after a chase up onto the roof and an attempt to get down the chimney. But he was stopped and brought back down and tied. All looked very bleak for Sobek at that point. None of his friends around, once again captured within the compound of Setenepre, ready to be the performance art piece of the master torturer, Zoyos. But one of Zehud's acolytes glided up behind him and stealthily placed something in his hand and simply said, "We will free you. Simply touch this to the back of Zoyos and slip away into the crowd, and you will be free." So Sobek, wisely considering his options, instead leaped from his chair and, without any concern for stealth, in his very wounded condition, charged Axios, the Coil of Set, the single greatest fighter in the city of Zamora, and was immediately struck down and recaptured. In that moment, Sobek, as your arms are being tied back and your mouth is being gagged and your eyes are being recovered, and Zoyos is hovering over you, patting you on the shoulder, what tell us about Sobek and tell us what he's thinking in that moment.
Yes, so Sobek is a priest of Set, along with other gods, and he is concerned, probably for the first time. He felt pretty confident during the torture that he could escape given the right moment. But after two escapes and three captures, he's starting to wonder if he can finally make that third escape or not.
And that's a fair thing to think. Now we're going to slide over to Sir Drusus Jolden. His evening started waiting as the champion of the fighting pit to be escorted into High Priestess Setenepre's chamber, where he would enjoy her company for a time, although he had been warned that most of her champions were never seen again. However, as he was preparing to go back there, Zamir whispered to him that the very manacles that would bind him to this X upon her wall had been broken, though they appeared to be intact, and that he would be able to pull free whenever he wished. He was he voluntarily placed himself on this X as Setenepre began to teasingly torture him. At first, Sir Jolden was able to withstand it without even a moment's flinch. But then her efforts became more aggressive, and he let out a yelp. But out of the corner of his eyes, he started to pull away from the X. He saw Zamir and Roya making their way in from the bathing chamber. And they knocked High Priestess Setenepre out, dragging her back into the bathing chamber. For a moment, we're going to catch up with Zamir and Roya, because the three of them will proceed together in a moment. Zamir and Roya had made their way up on top of the roof, and Zamir had instructed Roya on how to move quietly across the roof so they could get to the bathing chambers. Neither one of them realizing that Sobek had just watched them climb up and chose to go for a swim. They managed to get into the bathing chamber, slide down, see the lock, understand how to open it, and then hear Sir Drusus Jolden's cry. They burst in, they took out Setenepre, and that is where the three of them joined together. They bypassed the lock, using what Roya had learned in the Temple of Set, and made their way down into the chamber, the hidden chamber of Setenepre. In the middle of this chamber was a floating globe of blood, several feet in diameter, and a cage off to the one side with a young teenage girl in it, begging for her life. She explained to them that the gateway could only be opened with the blood of another, as she had seen the previous occupant bled to death so that Setenepre could open the gate. Understanding this, Sir Drusus Jolden freed the girl, his chivalry demanding that she be set free. And Zamir decided that the only way to open the gate was really with the life of Setenepre. She had argued other ways for them, but in the end, her blood fed the gate, and they made their way in. They're on the landing, looking down, and what they see is a giant area, a circular chamber. They assume the sepulchre beneath the obelisk of Set within the temple district. They see what appears to be a statue of a 40-foot snake wound around a raised giant bowl. But then Zamir realized that was in fact not a statue, but a living, sleeping snake of giant proportions. In addition, as they looked around, they saw other large tunnels leading out of the room. Obviously, how the snake makes its way through the undercity, and other crevices and cracks that they believe probably are what they had been told of would lead them into the undercity if they so chose. Zamir very stealthily made his way across and into the bowl using amazing parkour, where he spied the Torque of Mitra and several other seemingly valuable artifacts. This is where we catch back up to Sir Drusus Jolden, who has made his way down, and in an effort to back up Zamir in the event that the snake wakens, moved into range, and the sound of his footfalls awakened the snake. And this giant head lurched up and looked down at him, dead eyes the size of plates staring at him, a hissing forked tongue wisping out of its mouth as it prepared to strike. Zamir grabbed a shield from the bowl, a silvery shield with flecks of crystal in it, and skipped it down the creature's scales to Sir Drusus's waiting arms. He scooped the shield up right as the snake went to strike. And he was saved by this shield, taking only minor damage. Roya stayed up. The girl, this poor teenage captive, began to lose it. Her fear and exhaustion were finally overcoming her, but Roya was able to quiet her. Sir Drusus Jolden was face to face with the snake as Zamir scoops up what treasure he can, runs down the scales of the snake, and tumbles off of its head in a beautiful roll, landing on his feet before the snake. The snake, enraged at this, threw its coils at them, a great wave of scaly flesh striking down. Sir Drusus Jolden raises his shield and braces against the weight as it comes slamming down at him. As Zamir tumbles out of the way, Sir Drusus Jolden is able to hold back the worst of it, having already inflicted minor wounds upon the snake. In that moment, Sir Drusus Jolden, as you hold the coils of this giant snake up and lever it off of your shield, tell us about yourself and what you're thinking.
Yeah, there's a primal fear that grips my heart. It's causing me to breathe quickly, my muscles tighten. And just being head to head with a serpent, it fills me with awe and dread. Yet despite the fear, my warrior's training and my instincts kick in, allowing me to quickly defend myself.
And so the noble warrior stands his ground as Roya, standing next to the calmed, almost unconscious young girl after having recently thrown her dagger at Zamir, sees the blood gate collapse into a globe of blood, no longer open, no easy way out. At that moment, Melissa, tell us about Roya and what she is thinking.
So Roya she is much better at healing than she is at sneaking, as the shaman of the party. And the closing of this kind of portal kind of takes her back, and it reminds her of eyes closing. And she thinks about her travels along the river, and when she was kind of with a party, and there was a teenage girl, not dissimilar to the age of the one that we find ourselves with, who'd been attacked by a tiger, and Roya desperately tried to save her and was unsuccessful. And looking at the closing of that portal reminded her of the closing of Shira's eyes when she succumbed to her injuries and Roya failed to save her.
And in that moment, as Roya remembers Shira's eyes, we see Zamir, who has landed lightly and on the balls of his feet. Out of the corner of his eye, sees the blood gate close. But that's not what stops him in his tracks. What stops Zamir in his tracks is a voice clawing in the corners of his mind. Oh, have you claimed me then? Do you call me your own now? Tell me, am I to be yours?
Zamir will think in his mind. Like he's probably confused at the thought, but he probably says out loud, actually, so Drusus might even be able to hear it. If you help me evade death, then I am yours.
So it is spoken, so it will be, bound together forevermore. I need you, Zamir, to make a resistance check.
Damn it. Resistance A.
Resistance A. You've got 2 momentum still, and as always, you can't
what's the
get me
difficulty?
The difficulty, it's a 0 difficulty. Depending on the number of successes is going to determine what happens here.
Oh god. Yeah, I'm gonna buy a momentum. So I'm gonna use one of them. 0. Okay, here we go. Okay, 2 successes. Okay.
2 successes. That's not bad. That's not
Solid.
bad. So you feel this presence. It almost feels like it's rooting around in your mind and pushing some of your past, some of your thoughts, some of your identity away and nesting within your mind as its tendrils start to creep and crawl through your brain. You feel a black bile in your throat and a suffering. You permanently lose 1 resolve point.
Oh god.
As the demon that is the Fang of Set finds its home within your soul. And I will now share with you the Fang of Set.
Oh boy. I knew there was going to be a price to this dagger. I knew it. I knew it was coming.
Yeah. Yep.
Jeff's haunted.
Yeah,
Sure.
see. But, it's not a bad dagger, other than the fact that it's kind of like a patron. And that during upkeep, you have to feed it, or bad shit will happen to you.
Upkeeps, well, if we get to upkeep, it can take what it wants.
Exactly, right? I mean, that's nothing there.
For sure.
Okay, let's see here. Let me just double check. It should be...
Yeah, I see it.
The Fang, okay.
Got
it. So in that moment, as you feel this change in your heart, in your mind, in your soul, you feel this other presence that's taken up partial ownership of your soul. What is Zamir thinking?
As that's sort of sinking in, or as that revelation, it might be interrupting a thought that he was looking at Drusus, who had clanked and woke the snake, looking at Roya, who tried to throw a dagger so ineffectually and nearly got him in the back of the head with it. I think his thoughts probably went to Bijan, Zamir's cousin / brother, who had been corrupted by the cult of the spider god, former partners. And he thinks to himself, this is why I should work alone. But that thought, as he looks and he sees Drusus trying so hard to fight off the snake side by side with him, he sees Roya like protecting this young child that grandmother Wisp would most certainly want protected. He says, well, at least they have not betrayed me. Perhaps I shall help save them after all.
And with that, we find ourselves back at the Court of Beggars in that moment with Grandmother Wisp and Aurelia. Oh, sweetie, I am so thankful that you've brought this for me. You have no idea, truly no idea what you have done for me this night. You and that beautiful man, Zamir. I owe you more than I can possibly say.
What exactly is this? Is it a potion?
No, my dear, that's a secret, a very interesting secret, but we don't really have time for secrets at this moment. I have something to tell you. You see, I hear the whispers of the city. And they have so much to say tonight, so many sad and frightening things to say about your friends. So let me tell you a tale. One of your friends, a heretic sorcerer priest, thrice captured this night by the followers of Set, finds himself within Setenepre's compound, tied down, gagged, and blindfolded, on the brink of becoming a piece of torture art for Zoyos, the priest torturer of Set. He is moments away from potential death. And yet, his plight might not be the worst, for your other friends, Zamir and Roya and Sir Jordan, have found themselves into the sepulchre beneath the obelisk of Set. Using a blood gate, they have made their way in and found the treasures that you sought. But they have awakened a great serpent, the guardian of Set, and even now it seeks to kill them as the blood gate has closed. These are the whispers that I've heard, my dear. You see her take one finger and just take one drop of this liqueur out of this decanter and place it on her tongue. And you feel an energy come off of her, a lightening of everything within you, a spiritual lightening. Mm-hmm. But in fact, the actual shadows within the Court of Beggars grow darker. And you see two lines of shadows move away from her shadow and connect to alcoves in the corner. My dear, if you take and walk through that alcove to the right, you will find yourself back in the compound of Setenepre, within the room where Sobek is seated, awaiting his torture. And if you choose to take the path to the left, you will find yourself beneath the obelisk of Set, next to your friend Roya, facing the serpent. Or you may simply stay here with me and enjoy a glass of tea. It is your fate, my dear. You may choose it, but you must choose it quickly, and you must choose it now, for the shadow gates will only be open for a moment. Where would you go, my dear?
Okay, Sobek, high or low?
Oh, I'm not choosing. This is up to you.
I'm rolling.
I know.
Okay. You got fucked. I'm sorry. I'm running to the snake.
Okay. So Aurelia runs off. And as you enter this left-hand shadowy alcove, you feel in that moment that you press through it, a freezing cold grips your heart and soul. And for a moment, your mind seems to blow apart, and you hear tens of thousands of forgotten secrets, and you see the souls of hundreds of lost people throughout time who've lived within the city. And as they pass through you, and as these secrets burn in your mind, you take one step forward, and you find yourself standing next to Roya. It's the top of the round, and from here on out, we're going to go round by round for all of our players, and we're going to see exactly what happens to this party of adventurers. Sir Drusus Jolden is just thrown off a coil of the serpent. Zamir is standing off to the side after having run off its head. Roya is protecting the child, and Aurelia steps out of a shadow right next to you. There's a globe of blood floating off to the side. And for everybody, I'm going to mechanically remind you how the blood gates work. You can sacrifice a life to the blood gate and it will open. Or you can sacrifice enough blood to make up a life. And in this game, mechanically, that is wounds. So you can sacrifice 5 wounds to the blood gate and it will open. Or you can choose to run off into the Undercity. I will also remind you that minions, like this teenage girl next to you, only have 1 wound and will die if you sacrifice any of her blood to it. It will take if you choose to sacrifice blood to the gate, it is a standard action for you to enact the ritual, open your wrist or the palm of your hand, and allow that amount of blood to power the gate. During that time, you cannot take reactions, so you will be at the mercy of the snake if it chooses to attack you during that time. You can use your standard action to give as many wounds as you want. All momentum options are still open, so you could technically use 2 points of momentum to get a second standard action if you felt that you needed to. However, you cannot use that second standard action in any such way that would allow you to have a reaction because of the nature of the ritual you're enacting. You're up. Who wants to do something, and what would you like to do?
Did we get the torque or whatever it was that we were looking for?
Yes, Zamir has the torque. He also picked up an interesting scroll case and the dagger, which is now part of his soul.
And in his hand.
Ooh.
I would like to imagine that Roya just sort of, was kind of lost in this very sad memory, and then really it just appears next to her, and she just, kind of startles and sort of covers her own mouth, and then very quickly just sort of like gives Aurelia sort of a quick hug, and then points behind her to the snake.
Okay. Did you want to take any action? Because that's all free. That's all free action stuff.
Roya currently does not have any wounds, and so Roya would do the age-old open fist. Actually, no, wait. She threw her dagger. Let me see if she has something to cut herself with.
I mean, you guys have like boot knives or something. I'm not gonna penalize you over having thrown your fighting dagger. You'd have some cutlery or something.
Okay. I would say, like, in her staff, she sort of also has sort of a knife that's kind of hidden in there a bit. So she's going to, open palm and take a wound to her hand.
Okay. So go ahead and mark off a wound. So you see Roya open her palm and hold it up to this globe of blood, and blood starts to pool out. And then as you start to feel yourself weakening, you stop the blood flow and pull it back, but the gate is growing and starting to flatten out. Zamir, Aurelia, Sir Drusus Jolden, what would you guys like to do? Now, Zamir and Sir Jolden, you are at medium range from the blood portal, and you are both currently engaged with the serpent.
Zamir, we're retreating.
Okay. I'm following you. Go for it.
I will back up towards the gate.
So the question is, are you withdrawing, which takes 1 point of momentum and is a standard action, and that protects you from getting attacked, or are you just using your move action to move up to the gate?
Yeah, I'll withdraw from the snake.
Okay, so that is 1 point of momentum. So you're down to 0 now, and that's your standard action. So you move from medium range up towards the gate, and you still have a move action left. What is there anything you'd like to do with that?
I'll go ahead and spend my fortune to get another standard action.
Okay.
And then I'll point my bloodied arm from the serpent's fangs towards the gate. It'll take whatever blood from me it needs. I'll do 2 wounds even.
Okay. So the blood begins to pour out of your body. And at a moment when you feel yourself start to weaken badly, you stop it, bandage, and pull yourself back. And now that the gate has been fed 3 wounds, it's beginning to take the form of a gate.
Aurelia, you go ahead. Oh, no, okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. At this point, I'm going to spend a point of doom, and I'm going to have the serpent act. Because he sees everyone running away and heading up, and he knows. I mean, the serpent's is ancient. It's not stupid, and he knows what's happening with that gate. So his mouth splays open wide, and this great gout of greenish venom is spit up towards those of you at the gate. This is a ranged attack, so You can give me Doom to react, except for Sir Drusus Jolden and Roya, who have enacted in the ritual, so they actually don't get a reaction this turn. So we're gonna see how this goes. Who knows? You may not get. You may not even hit. And I'm gonna spend a couple of points of doom. Give me a little extra dice here. Three successes. So the venom squirts out and it will strike. It has area, so will hit all three of you. Aurelia, you can attempt an acrobatics check to dodge out of the way of the venom.
I will attempt that.
And you could give me Doom to get momentum if you'd like, or you can spend a fortune point to get a bonus D20 that automatically counts as a 1.
I'm just going to try it. We'll see.
I dig it.
1 success.
1 success. Okay, so that's not enough to overcome its successes. So, but it only gets 2 successes on you. But I'm not going to add to the damage.
Okay.
I'm just going to bank a little bit of Doom, and I'm going to roll some damage here. We'll see what we get. Okay, only 1 effect. That's not too bad. So you all take 7 points of damage. The effect is stun. Now, if you have armor or any kind of soak, reduce that by that amount. Or if you have a shield, you can roll cover dice and reduce it by that.
Yeah, I'll try to roll some cover here.
Okay.
And it's specifically left leg? Or does it? That's where the hit
No,
location is?
it's more.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Wasn't sure.
technically, yes, but. All right.
Did we roll an armor?
Nice.
That's
4
4
soak.
Yeah.
Yep, 4 soaks. You only take 3 points of damage. Roya, did you say, do you have armor?
I do.
Okay, so what's your armor rating?
I have.
It's on the left-hand side of the the character sheet, like all the way on the left. You should see an armor soak chart.
Right. So I've got 1 each for torso, arm, and arm, and then 2 each on legs.
Okay, so 2 for legs. It did hit your legs, so you only take 5 damage, but that is a wound. And it is intense, so you take 2 wounds. So now you've taken 3 wounds and 5 points of damage.
Okay.
And it has the stun effect, and it did get 1 effect. So you would be stunned next round, but you can give me 1 point of doom not to be stunned. And at this point, you might as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And Sir Drusus, the same for you. You only took 3 points of damage, so you do not take another wound, so you're not impacted by the intense quality. Aurelia.
I have 2 armor. So
Okay.
I think I take, 5 damage, so 2 wounds.
5 damage, so you take 2 wounds. And I'm assuming you want to give me a point of doom so you're not stunned next round?
Sure.
This round, because Aurelia, you haven't gone yet.
Yeah,
that's
I
right. This
haven't gone
round.
yet.
That's right. This round. So you'll be okay to act this round. So this great venomous spew vomit has struck the 3 of you, and it's burned and it's painful. And some of you are in serious state right now. But Aurelia and Zamir, you're up. The snake does not move; it stays coiled.
I have an idea.
Okay.
So, Gamemaster, Aaron, dear friend, I have an idea, and you can tell me if it doesn't work. In my possession, I have some sun dust, which is specifically a thief item that actually blurs vision, etc., etc. So, I know the snake is giant, but it is a dust, so I assume it's an aerosol. It's like aerosol. Would I be able to do a classic and just try to like get that sun dust into sort of its face, its eyes, its tongue, whatever that might actually affect it, so that it's harder, so I can increase any difficulty maybe of it trying to target us in sort of future rounds as we try to escape.
You absolutely can do that. It's a standard action, ranged attack.
Okay. Can I make use of my my talent that lets me roll stealth, since it's a thief item? It's technically
You
not.
absolutely can, yeah.
Okay. So let me. Is there a difficulty for this roll?
No, it's just a difficulty 1. I mean,
Okay.
it could resist it, but it's technically it can try to roll its acrobatics. But I'm going to say that it was distracted because it was just spitting venom. So as long as you make depending on how you do, because this is a stealthy attack, I'm just going to let it go unopposed.
Okay. All right. So I will roll. I'm just going to roll straight. Hope for the best. That is 2 successes.
All right. So you get a point of momentum.
All right.
And what are the effects of Sundust exactly?
Okay, so specifically, it increases the difficulty of all tests requiring sight by 1 step.
Okay. So everything it's going to do going forward is going to be more difficult for it. I mean, snakes obviously also have a great sense of taste or smell, but because this is fun and that was a cool thing to do, we're gonna up the difficulty, because I think it get it in its mouth too. You know, I mean, this is clogging all of its senses up.
Yeah.
You still have a move action.
Yes. So then for my minor action, I'm going to do withdraw, which will move me back basically to close and not engaged. Then I'll burn a fortune point to get a second standard action.
To withdraw, if you're going to withdraw, you have to use a standard action to do that.
What's the one? There's one where you just step away.
That's withdraw, but it's a standard action.
Oh, is it a standard? Okay, well then
yeah,
I will.
You can move, but you risk the
So I will spend a fortune point to get a second standard action. Use that to withdraw, so you should get a point of doom. Then I'll use my minor action to run towards the gate.
Perfect. So Zamir blows dust in the snake, and its head rears back as it's trying to clear its nose and its mouth and its eyes, as Zamir pulls back and heads up to the gate. Aurelia, you're up.
Aurelia, I'm gonna bleed on the portal.
Okay.
And I'm gonna do it twice.
Okay, so you'll be at 4 wounds.
I'll be at 4 wounds, but we'll be at 5 of the blood.
The gate will open, yes.
Needed for it to open.
Okay. So Aurelia opens a vein and blood starts flowing free. And you see her weaken to the point where she falls to her knees, almost incapacitated. But the blood gate flares open. Now, this is an important question. You don't know where this blood gate's going. However, you can choose to spend a fortune point to have it go back to Setenepre's compound, or you can just let it randomly open wherever you want.
Since Aurelia knows that Sobek is in danger at her compound, I'll spend it to take us back there.
Okay, so that opens. The blood gate opens. The snake is rearing back. The torque of Mitra is in your hands. You're bloodied, you're battered, but you have a way out. Let's see if Sobek has a way out. Sobek, you're tied into this chair. You're gagged. You're blindfolded, and you hear Zoyos and Axios arguing above you. Zoyos is talking to Axios. Where is she? She was supposed to be out by now. She should have dealt with a champion either. He should have either survived like you and Shizmindi did and become part of her warrior band, or he should have died on the cross by now. Everyone in the party is beginning to question what is going on. We must proceed with the torture. It is almost midnight. You know that the sacrifice must be enacted at the right time. Axios says, right, listen, I'll go remind her that she needs to finish that chomp off and get out here. and you hear Axios making his way back through the beaded curtains into the bedroom of Setenepre. What do you do?
Well, first of all, I'd like to spend a fortune point to ignore my wounds for the rest of the scene.
I think that's a very good idea.
And then I'd like to spend another fortune point. Can you describe like where my chair is? Like, I would have seen it before I was like placed in it, right?
You're right in the middle of the room, basically right next to the long table, the long feasting table. You're right to the right of that, where you think they were probably going to set up the rack for your torture. So you're in the middle of the main dining hall, the main receiving room of Setenepre. Off to the right, through down a corridor, is the servants area in the kitchen. Down to the left is Setenepre's chambers. So and you could feel the breeze.
It's fair to say that there are like patrons moving around and things like that.
There are people around. There are partygoers around, but you don't feel anyone particularly close to you. You get the feeling most people are a little afraid to approach Zoyos. You do feel him right in front of you, though.
Okay. Tell me if this is too much or not. I'd like to spend a fortune point to influence the scene, to create a story element. That badge, was it, that I was supposed to put on Zoyos? It got slapped out of my hand by Axios. So I'd like to say that for my fortune point, it slid towards my chair, and a drunk partygoer sees it and just kind of stumbles to pick it up.
I'm completely okay with that.
And while they're doing that, I'd like to try and sort of talk to them throughout my gag. Trying to tell them what it is, basically.
Okay.
What kind of check would I have to do to convince them to pull the gag down so I can speak?
Oh, the stumbling drunk partygoer?
Yes.
That's going to be a difficulty 3 persuasion check.
Persuasion.
Because
okay.
Everybody's pretty afraid of Zoyos.
We don't have any momentum, do we?
You've got 1 point of momentum. But as always, you can give me Doom, or you can spend a fortune point to get an automatic 1 on 1 die. But I think that would be your last fortune point.
I need that final fortune point, so I'm going to give you the Doom.
Okay.
So I can take 3 momentum by giving you Doom, right? 2 Doom?
You can. Yeah. You could. Yeah. You spend your 1 momentum and give me 2 Doom to get 3 extra die.
All right, guys. Hope for the best.
Got this.
Did it not roll? I was trying to roll through the program. Did I not do it right?
Nothing popped up.
It spent your Doom, but it didn't.
Did you hit roll?
Oh, there it goes.
There it goes. It was just having an angle.
Oh
my
no.
God. Wow.
Shit.
Wow. Okay. One success. So that was not enough successes, but 3 complications. So that's impressive. So tell me what you say to this guy to try to get him to pick this up for you. You hear him pull back a second and turn to the priest torturer Zoyos and go, I think he's trying to get me to pick that thing up. I'm sorry, Mr. My lord. And you hear this guy back away. You hear Zoyos go, bring me those tongs. What do we have here? And he picks it up and he puts it in the palm of your hand. And you feel something move and sink into the palm of your hand. Give me a resistance check. Difficulty 0. I'm just going to see what happens. Depending on the number of successes, will determine what actually happens to you here.
Oh, I'm not going to have many successes.
I believe in you.
Okay, 1 success. So you take 2 points of despair
Oh.
as your resolve is lowered, as you feel this spidery thing slip into your hand, and you hear scratching in the back of your mind. It's very simple, my friend. You will be free of the spider when you bring us the decanter. Otherwise, well, you may be having a very, very bad night. And you know that was a message meant for Zoyos, of course.
Yeah.
And you feel the weakness in your bowels as you believe a slow poison may be seeping into your system. But let's roll with it. What do you want to do now?
I suppose I'm gonna just have to wait for an opening. With bound, gagged, and blindfolded, I'm not gonna be able to cast any spells. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait for something to happen to me, and then I can try to slip out then.
Okay. You hear the banging on the door. You hear Axios. Mistress! Someone break this door down. And you hear battering, pounding against her door. And then you hear the splintering of wood. And you hear Axios move into the room. Zamir, Aurelia, Roya, Sir Drusus. The gate is open before you. The serpent is still reeling from the sun dust. What do you do?
Run.
Excellent. You pass through the blood gate with this poor teenage girl in tow, and you find yourself back in Setenepre's hidden chamber, her arcanum, her sanctuary. And you see the spiral stairs going up, but you hear booted feet on the stairs coming down. Sobek. Before you, Zoyos pulls the gag out of your mouth. He goes, do tell me, what was that just sank into the palm of your hand? I assume it was meant for me. If you tell me what it was and what its purpose was, I may go easy on you this evening.
Oh, it was just birthday wishes. It played a little song in my head. Was today your birthday?
He chuckles. He goes, you're always the one making light of your situation. I respect that. I wish more of our priests had your focus of faith. But I'm not here to take jokes from you today. Give me a persuade check.
Because we learned I'm so good at least.
Yeah, we have. You're fantastic.
You know what? You got so much doom. I'm going to give you some more.
Okay. And I'm going to resist it with his. Nice. Zero successes.
Wow.
You're the worst. Just the worst at
Wow.
rolling.
The dice really do
I'm
hate
just giving him free
Sobek.
doom.
Man. So yeah, I'm gonna take the doom there, I guess. And he just laughs. He laughs. He smacks your hat off of your head, and he rips the gauze away from your eyes. And there's a dagger poised right in front of your left pupil. You can feel it touching the pupil of your eye. Now, my dear friend, why don't you tell me what it actually was so we can continue with our evening of torture?
I'll tell him.
Okay. He's like,
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, the cult of Yazoo. They are so playful. It might have even taken some effort to neutralize that poison. Well, it won't matter to you for much longer, but thank you for your honesty. And at that, without putting your blindfold or your gag back in, he takes a few steps back and he's talking to one of the guards. Go find out where Axios is. We don't have time for this. Back in Setenepre's sanctum, you see Axios coming down the spiral stairs. You're beaten, you're bloody, you're tired, you're hurting. Well, some of you are. Axios looks at you.
Was there time at all to like hide when we heard the bootsteps? Like slip into the shadows for Zamir at least?
If anybody wants to try to find a place to hide, give me a thieving or stealth check. Difficulty 2, because there's not a lot down here. And Axios knows this room fairly well.
All right. Zamir for sure is going to try.
I'll give it a shot, see what happens.
Nope. That's a complication, unfortunately.
All right, all right.
Hey, Roy, got a success.
Sadly, you needed 2, but it is nice that you got a success. He comes down the stairs and he sees all of you scrambling around looking for places to hide. All right. Where is the High Priestess Setenepre?
Point to the portal. She's in there.
Give me a persuade check.
Sweet.
And this is a difficulty 3 for you because he knows for a fact there's no way that she would allow people into her sanctum that he doesn't know, and that she would stay on the other side of the blood gate. But give it a shot.
Let's see, no momentum. I'll give you 2 doom.
Okay.
I got 3 complications somehow with one success.
Oh my
What
gosh.
the heck? 3 20s?
Okay. So
320s.
man, so
On persuade too.
wow, that was
Pretty good roll.
you guys just are trying to die so hard here.
They just really want to play like D&D or Pathfinder. Guys, roll freaking low. Jeez.
So with that, I'm going to go ahead and spend a point of doom, and he knows for a fact that in his heart he knows you've killed Setenepre, and he flies off these stairs in a rage, his black khopesh swinging out to strike at Sir Drusus Jolden. I've seized the initiative. He has a talent called Dervish, which allows him to spend doom to continue to attack anyone within medium range of him. But he has to spend more doom every time, and the difficulty goes up. But the first attack against Sir Drusus has no added difficulty to it. However, you can try to parry it. Now, what is the reach of your weapon?
Medium?
It's like it'll be a number, probably 2.
Oh, 2, yeah.
Okay. It's the same reach as his, so there's no offset on the difficulty. So you're both just looking. Whoever gets the most successes, you on your parry, him on his attack, will determine who wins this bout. I've got a lot of doom, so I'm going to go ahead and spend 3 doom because he's pretty angry. Okay, he got a complication himself, so you guys get a point of momentum. You got a complication.
I also got a complication.
So he comes in, he hits, got 5 successes. And I'm not going to add any damage to this, I don't think. I'm just going to roll straight damage here. Hold on. Oh, yeah, crap damage. So, he hits you in the torso, and you take 2 points of damage, 1 effect, So what that means is you take 3 points of damage and 1 point of mental damage, 1 point of damage to your resolve, because this black Kopesh is also fearsome.
Does this hit Soakable at all?
It is by armor, if you're wearing armor, or you can use your shield.
Yeah, I'll do.
But
the
I'm going to
shield.
give you this choice.
Okay.
Your complication causes you to drop something, either your weapon or your shield.
Yeah, I'll have him hit the shield and it sort of clanks out of my arm.
Okay, so the shield falls away, so you don't get to use it for soak though, because your complication happened. So you just take the 3 points of damage, and your shield is on the ground. You take 1 point of resolve. He is going to go ahead and spend his 2 points of doom to then roll across and attack Zamir. Now, this attack is a difficulty of 2. You can parry it if you so choose.
Yeah, I should. All right, let me just double checking one of my talents here. Okay. It says I can substitute stealth for my melee and ranged weapon skills, so I'm gonna roll.
But not parry.
Oh, it's parry. I always forget parry in this game is a different skill. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
But he only netted 1 success because it was a minimum of 2 difficulty for him to hit it, and I forgot to spend any doom to give him extra dice. So
I'm gonna give you 3 doom for 3 more dice.
Okay.
I just added them manually, and then
Okay.
I'm gonna roll parry to try to. Let's see. And yeah, so it's would technically be difficulty 3, right? Because you got 3 successes.
he only netted 1 though. You had to get a minimum of 2 successes. So if you get 1 or 2 successes, you successfully parry.
All right. It's gonna screw up the doom here in a sec, but
It's okay. I'll take it.
2 successes. So we should have.
All right.
We
So
should have 2 momentum.
what happens is he comes in. He spins after striking Sir Drusus Jolden and knocking his shield out of his hand. Spins around and brings his Kopesh down. And you were able to use, I'm assuming, your new the Fang of Set
Indeed.
to get under his guard and get it up near his fingers, and he has to pull back. And because he has to pull back and you fail to hit, I'm going to say he's going to stop his action at that point. And we're going to go back to Sobek for a moment. Sobek, you're sitting in your chair. You see Zoyos there. He's sending another guard off, but you have no gag. You have no blindfold. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna make the hard choice. Gonna go the difficult route as always. I want to cast Gaze of Set on Zoyos specifically.
All right.
So he's gonna need to give me a discipline, and I will definitely spend my last fortune here to give myself an automatic success. And then I'm gonna give you more doom because why not?
Hold on for a second. You start to cast your spell.
Okay.
And he looks, and in the same sibilant whispers, you hear him countering your spell. It's a roll off.
What do I got to do for that?
You just roll. You roll your spell, and he rolls hit. And you roll a Gaze of Set. He rolls a Gaze of Set, and whoever gets the most, if you get more successes than he does, then your spell takes effect. If he gets more successes, he's countered your spell.
Okay. I think I did that right. Let's roll and hope that it's better.
2 successes. Oh no, what am I doing? Oh my God, 9 successes.
It's all coming back, baby.
And momentum. Damn.
Wow.
So he's
Holy
well, we got to wait
crap.
and see. It's the difference in the rolls. But I'm going to go ahead. Sorry, and Sobek is going to. Zoyos is going to spend some doom himself to try to knock this one out of the park. Hold on for a second. 4 successes. You succeed. You beat him by 5. You now have 6 momentum, and your spell takes effect.
6 momentum.
6 momentum.
What does this spell do?
I'm deciding here. I'm sorry. I didn't think I'd have 6 momentum. That's a lot to spend on this. I would like to tell him, command them to let me go and to replace me with you as the sacrifice. And I think that would be considered a violent act, like turning the blade upon themselves. So 3 momentum there.
Okay.
And then companions, I can affect 1 additional toughen target or 2 additional minions. I'd like to just spend the rest of the momentum on anyone nearby that I can.
Okay. So describe what happens. It happens just as you want it to play out. So tell us all what happens here.
So I think Zoyos would then, under the gaze of Set, would loudly get the attention of the party and say something along the lines of how I'm not a good enough sacrifice and that the sacrifice tonight can only be the best, so it will be himself. And he commands the people nearby to cut me loose and throw me out the gate, and that he will be the one tortured tonight.
And that's what we see happen. Sobek his bindings are taken off, and he's dragged out of the gate of Setenepre's compounds and thrown to the street. And out of the corner of your eyes, you're being dragged out. You see Zoyos being strapped down and gagged. And in that last second, as he's being gagged, you see the fog lift from his eyes, and he knows what's happened. As the partygoers around him, having been so enthralled by the gaze of Set, begin to torture him in the chair that was meant for you. We find ourselves back in the sepulchre in Setenepre's sanctuary, beneath her home. It's your guys' turn. What do you do?
I'm going to swing at him with my broadsword.
I like it. Now, remember, there's all kinds of different momentum spins you can do in combat. You can do a called shot to try to make sure you hit him someplace where he doesn't have any armor, which really doesn't matter much here. You can do bonus damage, obviously, but only up to 3. But you can do things like disarm him.
I don't think we have any because Steven spent it all.
Yeah, you don't have any at the moment, but you can always substitute Doom for momentum. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of some of the things you can do with momentum other than just add damage to it.
And I don't appreciate that tone of how Steven spent it all either.
That was an amazing spell. That was a thing of beauty.
I can't remember. Is one of the momentum spends knocking prone? Can you knock somebody prone with momentum?
Trying to find it. Penetrate, reroll, second one, secondary target, subdue, swift action. I don't think you can knock prone with this one, but I'll double check.
Okay. Yeah, I can't find it in momentum spends.
No,
because prone's great because it breaks their guard for everybody.
But knockback is a thing in the game, and the game does say to be creative with your momentum spins. So if you want to try to knock him down, I don't have a problem with that.
Whoever is knocking him down, Aurelia would definitely want to assist with that. Specifically trying to maybe get him knocked down halfway through the portal, and then I want it to close on him and cut him in half.
That's the thing of beauty. All right. So you can knock him down. In combat, if you're assisting, what you do is just like any other assist. You'd roll 1 die, and if you succeed, that adds 1 automatic success to whoever you're helping in the attack. Okay. So you're either fainting, or you're moving around, or you're trying to yank this guy's leg, whatever you want to do.
I was thinking, because I have in my belongings, I have my former master's spear. So maybe she'll get it in between his legs to try and trip him up.
Beautiful. I love it. I will say for a knockback using momentum, since I'm assuming your weapons don't have the knockback quality, it would be a 3 momentum spend. So it'd be basically the same as the highest level disarm requirement.
Could I spend my last fortune for that? Or does that only give 2 momentum?
Your last will give you a 1 on a D20, or you can introduce a story declaration. So what I would say, if you want to spend your fortune point on that, I will say that you are declaring that if whoever you're helping, if they hit him, he will fall down because you spent that fortune point.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. And
So who's trying to hit him?
Yeah, I'll continue with my follow through here.
Okay. Now he is going to try to parry, and he's a pretty good fighter. So if you want to give me some doom to get some extra dice, may not be a bad thing.
Yep, I have to here because I have 2 wounds, so it's lowering my or increasing my difficulty as well.
Do you have any fortune left?
Do have 1.
You can spend 1 fortune point to overcome weakness. And what that means is you ignore the effects of all wounds and trauma for an entire scene. So for this whole combat, it would be like you were not wounded.
Okay, so what happens if I go down to 0 vigor again?
You take a wound automatically. But you're if you don't have 5 wounds, you're still in a relatively okay situation. I mean, you're down, but you're not dead.
I see.
There is the recover action too. So if you go down to 0 vigor on your next turn, you could, or next action, you can do recover to try to get back up to vigor and still do stuff.
And you can also take, you can spend 2 points of momentum to take 2 standard actions. One of them could be to recover. The second one could then be to attack.
I'm just going to give you all 3 doom here for my attack.
Okay.
See what happens. Oh, 5 successes. Here we go.
5 successes. Nice. All right. He is going to try. He's going to try to parry that. Sorry, got to get up here. But he's angry, so I'm not going to give him any other options. So only 3 successes. So you successfully hit him and gain an additional 3 points of momentum that you can use for whatever you want. And as your broadsword strikes him, Aurelia's spear goes between his legs, and he falls prone and goes skidding towards the gate. But roll some damage, or whatever else you'd like to do.
Damage? We got 5 damage.
5 damage and 3. Go ahead.
Remember that we have lots of audience dice for effects, so this is the time now that we're in combat
damage
that
dice,
we can spend them on. Yeah,
That is true. So if you want to re-roll that damage with that knowledge and you can take up to 3 audience dice. You can take 3 bonus dice in total. I'll let you do that because I like to err on the side of fun.
You said 3 rerolls?
You can re-roll it if you want, and add 3 additional dice.
Oh, I see.
Just re-roll the whole thing and add 3 dice if you want.
I think I'm okay here. I can use my talent to reroll 1 dice though. So
Okay.
see what happens.
Nice.
I got 1 extra damage, so for 6.
6 damage, and he does have 3 armor. So his armor soaks some of that as he gets knocked prone, but he does take some damage. Not enough to give him a wound, but he is blooded as he slides across the floor towards the gate. He is prone also, so
Zamir's going to pounce if Drusus is done.
Yeah, I'll use a minor action, I think.
Yeah, you saw the minor action. Yep, you can pick up your shield.
What's up?
All right, Zamir.
Okay, so Zamir, Fang of Set in his hand, seeing this man fall to the ground, sliding along the ground, he will, first of all, standard action, take the exploit action. Then I will give a fortune point to get another standard action, and I will use that to attack. I will use the 3 momentum we have to attack him as well. And since he's on the ground, his guard shouldn't come into play.
That is correct. That is correct. And also, since he's on the ground, he can't resist this attack. He can't parry it.
Okay. So I'm rolling 5 dice because I'm going to spend all of that momentum that you just got. This is my stealth. Is there a difficulty that I'm rolling this against?
Just 1.
Okay. Okay, that's 9 successes with 8 momentum. I'm going to spend all of that momentum and put it towards damage.
You know what? You can only add 3 to damage, but,
right, so
but you can do other things. You could do.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, you could use 2 of those to do a called shot to his head where he's not wearing any armor, so he wouldn't be able to soak any of it.
So I could do both, right?
Yep. And but you've already got penetration, don't you, with the exploit action? Okay. Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to spend the 3 to get 3 extra bonus damage. Okay. So then I'm going to tap into a couple of my talents here. So first is my Death Dealer talent essentially gives me +1 to my combat dice. So that's basically +4 dice currently. Mm-hmm. Normally, so right now I'm at 9 damage dice. Then I'm going to tap into my I'm going to tap into my Assassin talent, which is when rolling damage with a melee weapon that has the hidden quality, which Black Fang Ascent does. I'm going to spend 2 momentum, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, to to basically count every dice in the pool as an effect instead of whatever was actually rolled. Mm-hmm. And since I took the exploit action, this gets intense and vicious, which means he takes 18 points of damage, can't soak any of it, and it's intense, so he takes extra wounds.
So describe how you kill the greatest fighter in Zamora.
As this guy is sliding across, just with like rapid fire precision, like the scene from Gangs of New York, he's just, this is a wound, this is a wound, this is a wound. He's just kind of cutting him all as he's sliding across, like he's like a butcher going to town, and just splurts of blood are probably coming up and kind of feeding the portal too as he slides.
Exactly. That's exactly what happens. You see, he just gets laid open, filleted almost in front of you, and all the blood just starts sucking out of his body. And he just holds up a hand, and then it drops at his side. His black steel khopesh falls at his side. And you have killed Axios, the Coil of Set.
Woohoo!
What do you do?
We need to find Sobek, and we need to leave quickly. News of the High Priestess's demise in this one will also soon become known to all of them. Move quickly, quietly, act like you are meant to be here.
Of course.
So you make your way up the stairs. Oh, yeah, somebody can, absolutely, if they want it.
Drusus?
I'll pick it up along the way.
Okay. I'll tell you what it is right now in case you have to use it, and then I'll drop it in. I'll write it up and drop it into your character sheet a little bit later. It is a black steel khopesh that hungers for souls. It is, the blessing allows the wielder to spend 1 point of doom to heal 1 point of vigor for each effect rolled, as long as the target took damage. If the target does not take damage, the khopesh fields on its wielder, and they take 1 point of fatigue. In addition to its blessing, it is fearsome 1, intense, vicious 1 with a parrying quality. So it's a fairly powerful blade, but it can bite its wielder, just like. But you have it now in your possession. You make your way up the winding stairs, and surprisingly enough, the door to her bedroom is battered down, but you don't see any guards, and you hear yells and screams coming from in the main feast hall. And you hear guards, confusing, going, "What are we supposed to do? I don't understand." What do
take
you do?
advantage of the confusion and sort of head out.
Let
Are
me
you-
one moment. Let me come up.
So Zamir is going to go up ahead just a little bit, to try to get a visual to see, is this an opportunity where we could slink out of the room, or is this like they're right outside and they're going to see us like wandering outside and like turn like, why are you coming out of her bedchamber?
When you look out, you don't see any guards anywhere near this area. What you see is a melee of people around. It looks like a figure who's been carved to death, tied to a chair. But it's not your associate Sobek. It appears to be Zoyos, the priest torturer. And you see all the guards are trying to subdue the party goers. They're trying to figure out whether or not they should be killing them or restraining them. And the party goers are starting to say, we don't know why we did it. He told us to do it. But everyone is focused on the scene in the middle of the banquet hall.
I'll wave everyone up then. And when they get there, I'll be like,
It appears our dear friend Sobek might have pulled a fast one.
and I will point in the direction of what was supposed to be Sobek getting tortured to death. And it was somebody else.
Is he still around?
Guys can give me an observation check. See if you see him.
We actually do have momentum for once.
Yeah.
Look at all that stuff.
Who's rolling it?
My difficulty's increased for my wounds.
I'll look. I can do it.
Yeah, I've got 3 wounds.
I will. I'll burn a momentum to get an extra die, and I'll give it a roll. Is there a difficulty on this, Aaron?
Just a difficulty 1.
Can I try to
Standard
do a
difficulty.
quick treatment on Sir Jolden
You can.
if we're taking a second to look around?
All right. 3 successes, so I'm going to bank the momentum I got. So we're up to max momentum.
You don't see any sign of Sobek, but you do see what looks like bloody drag marks. It looks like somebody or something has been recently drug out of this room and out towards the open air atrium.
Okay. I will point that out to Drusus and Roya and Aurelia.
What do you think?
Maybe he's there. And I'll
Last
lead
I
the party.
heard, he was captured.
I'll take point towards the atrium then.
And
Okay.
Aurelia is kind of like probably in the middle-ish of our group with the teenage girl, and since she's got 4 wounds, she's probably like kind of leaning on her.
You're all fairly battered, but you're alive as you make your way out through the open air atrium and towards the gates along the walkway. So 1 success
Okay.
on your healing check.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure this out. It says the difficulty of the test is equal to the number of harms that type of ally is currently
wound.
suffering from.
Harm is like the generic term for wound. Like wound
Yeah.
is for the physical type of, but a harm can also be like resolve, has wounds as
Yeah,
well.
trauma. Yep.
Trauma. Yeah.
Okay, so the difficulty is 2 then.
Yeah.
So I can re-roll one of the d20s because of my bind wounds.
Okay.
So I'm gonna do that, which is a 4, which my
And your
healing
focus is 4, so you got 3 successes.
perfect. So then that's sorry, first time I'm doing healing.
It's okay.
On a successful test, the character regains 3 points of vigor or resolve. So long, you get 3 points of vigor back.
Dang, okay.
So as you're going along, you're being bandaged up. Sobek, you're outside the gate. I need a discipline check from you.
Okay.
I mean, no,
what's the difficulty?
sorry, not a discipline, a resistance check. Sorry,
Oh. You had me all excited. I'm good at discipline.
I apologize.
What's the
It's
difficulty?
it's difficulty 1 for this check.
How much doom do you have again? I'm going to give you more.
Well, you've
So wait,
got
wait,
6
wait.
momentum at the moment.
I want to bring something up.
Oh,
really
we've got
quick.
momentum. All right.
Really quick, Steven. So there is in game, and I'm not saying you necessarily want to do this here, but you actually can voluntarily fail a difficulty 1 or higher test, pay the Doom Master 1 Doom, and gain a fortune point back. I don't know. It's up to you, but I just want to throw that out there. It's a thing you can do.
That is interesting.
Right? I figured you want to know that.
Tempting, but I'm not going to do it now. But that is good to know. Thank you.
If he uses it, he falls over dead right now.
Okay.
Okay, so you feel this poison, it's coursing through you, but you're able to keep moving. Whatever effects it's having on you hasn't really rooted in your system yet, but you're moving slow past the gate. Zamir, Aurelia, Roya, and Sir Jolden, as you are moving towards the gate, you can actually see the shuffling form of Sobek, because he's badly injured as well, trying to make his way off of the compound.
Beeline right towards him.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get out of here. Or try.
Muted.
Jeff, you're muted.
God dang it. I was going to slip an arm into, like, underneath his arm, like I'm a gentleman, and I was going to say, "Good evening, my dear. You seem to be having trouble. Let the young gentleman help."
No, I'm fine. I just need to catch my breath. As I lean on him.
So Zamir pushes him down. No, yeah, okay.
So, Zamir, at that point, you hear a whispered voice in the back of your head. And Aurelia, you hear this too. "Oh, my dears, quickly come. Come to the court. There's not much time."
Our lady is waiting. Let us go.
Yeah, Zamir will look to Aurelia when she says that. Like, so
You heard her as well. Yes, we must move. The grandmother needs us.
You find it's almost as if you slip yourselves between the cracks and the shadows, become the lost ones yourself. No one seems to see you as you move through the streets, and you quickly find your way back to the Court of Beggars. You're brought in, and you see Grandmother Wisp sitting there on her beggar throne with her cane. And as you walk in, people come out of the shadows and they start taking things away from you and bandaging your wounds. But Grandmother Wisp points at you, Zamir. She goes, "Come here, my sweet, sweet boy."
Zamir will step forward and he will kind of do a very elegant bow.
"Yes, madame. I trust Aurelia was able to deliver the item safely."
"Oh, yes, she was. Such a sweet girl." And Grandmother Wisp holds out her hand and touches your cheek, and you feel yourself almost pulled into a bubble of safe space with her. And her age drops away. And you see this beautiful young woman with coffee-colored skin and long black hair and dreadlocks pulled back and dark, dark eyes. She goes, "Oh, my sweet, sweet Zamir, we do not have much time, and I am concerned about the new friend that you have burrowed into your thoughts. But you are not the first to have a demon within their soul, and if anyone can handle it, it will be you. But I'm not here to talk to you about that. As I said, our time is very short, and I have a tale I wish to tell you, my sweet man. You see, once long ago, when Atlantis was but a young kingdom, I had a lover, and he and I, we chafed under our family's restrictions. They did not like us to be together. We lived far in the Southlands. And so we made a pact that we would escape. Together, we would make a new life for ourselves. Back in those days, my sweet boy, I was known as Erzuli. I was a protector of women and children and those that society had left behind. And my consort was a He was a striking young man. His name was Anansi, a spinner of tales, a mischievous one. We knew our roles well in the Southland. But as we moved north and found our home here in these kingdoms, well, let me simply say our kind, when we become known to a people, how those people see us changes who we are. And so here in this city, I started to become Grandmother Wisp, still a protector of the lost, but now not just the lost people and those who suffer, but the lost secrets, the lost knowledge. An oracle of this city. And with that power, I saw my beloved Anansi begin to change himself. For in these lands, he became the dagger in the night, the dark lingering death. He became fear. He became Grandfather Venom. And I knew that as his power grew and his evil infested the land, that my lost children would be next. So I struck him down, and Grandfather Venom fell. But our kind are hard to kill, my sweet man. And so Anansi, Grandfather Venom, drug himself off to the east, and he spun a cocoon of webs, of hatred about himself. And in time he emerged. No longer was he the strutting Anansi who I loved, or even the slinking Grandfather Venom I feared. He became the skulking spider Zahud, and his power grew. And he claimed a city for his own, and his web spread throughout it, and it lost its name and became him. And now his spiders seek out the other corners of this land, and they have come to my city. And they have come to claim me, and that is why I ask that favor of you, my heroic love, to get that decanter that I had misplaced decades ago. For it is no liqueur. It is the blood of Anansi. It is my savior. It is the protector of my city. For as long as I have this decanter, he cannot come to my house. And so I've hidden it away in a forgotten dream of my own, of he and I in our youth, someplace that he fears to go and will never see. So you have saved me in this city. But, my dear sweet man, you have marked yourself and your friends, for even as we speak, Zehud has sent his greatest assassins to search for the decanter, which he will not find, but to also find those who thwarted his agents and stole it from beneath his grasp. His greatest assassin will be hunting you with a cadre of creatures. I think you know of whom I speak. Can you whisper his name to me?
So the talk of Spider, like he's like kind of running through this in his mind, and he's extraordinarily angry as like the name.
This is not the first time this spider has threatened and taken one that I hold dear. Bijan, my brother. And now they attempt you as well, the spider god. Yes, is this the form Anansi takes?
Yes, Anansi is Zehud, but Bijan is no longer Bijan. He is neither living nor dead, no longer human, at least not in the way that he was. He has become Iktomi, Zehud's greatest assassin. And my dear sweet man, he will be the death of you if he can. That is why you must take your friends and flee Zamora. For his people, his agents, his assassins cannot be slain and cannot be stopped within the borders of this realm. You must flee, go far, to lands where greater gods reside, perhaps far to the west and the lands of Mitra, or north to the frozen god Ymir, or even south to my cousin Set, though I would warn against that, or caution you to be very careful, because you have also made a great enemy of Set, for though many in the city did not care for Setenepre, she was a favorite of my cousin Set. So they may have agents themselves looking for you. And speaking briefly of that god, I have also seen an old forgotten memory. You carry a scroll with you, or a scroll tube. Once you flee here, show it to your heretic priest friend. It may be of interest to him. But regardless, you must leave. You must travel to the Cavaneseri, near the border, close to the city of Sergos. Give over the talk of Mitra so that you do not offend another god in your travels. And then get yourself far from Zamora. She puts both of her hands on your face. Do you understand me?
He will say, I fear not the blade or the venom of Bijan, or whatever he calls himself now. For he was always 2 steps behind Zamir. But I shall heed your counsel, for you are wiser than I. And I shall ensure that my friends and I will leave this land, and I will give to our sorceress friend Sobek that which you have said.
She goes, oh, my beautiful, beautiful man. You must promise to return to the court of beggars in a century or two and tell me of all of your tales, the exploits and your adventures. And with that, she leans forward and gives you a kiss right above your heart. And you feel this warmth flow through your body and a great energy. And she looks back, she's got a twinkle in her eye, and she goes, I'll be waiting 2 centuries, no more. After all, you should not make a lady wait too long for her lord. She has given you the kiss of Erzuli. Now, narratively, you no longer age. You will live at your current age unless you are killed for all time. Now, mechanically, what this also does for you is it gives you for free the fortune talent called Make Your Own Luck. It's on page 90. And it opens the fortune talent tree up to you. In addition, instead of the fortune talents costing you 600 experience points of talent, they only, other than the one that you have for free, they will only cost you 300 experience points if you want to purchase any of the others.
Okay.
She leans back, she lays one hand to the side of your head, and she goes, now you must flee. Flee to the caravanserai, flee to your client, and then leave Zamora behind. And as you pull back, this bubble that surrounded you breaks, and you see Grandmother Wisp as the old lady again with her cane. I've told you what you need to do, my love, my sweet man. Now don't wait, and do not make me wait longer than we discussed. Now shoo, all of you. You have things to do and I am tired. You've all been healed fully. No wounds, no vigor loss.
No Zamir, poison?
No poison.
Oh, boy. So Zamir would want to say
200 years. Why not an eternity, such time without you? But I shall do it as you say, and I shall be back filled with stories and treasure. And then I will look upon your face once more.
And he'll wait until like it's down and she's an old woman again. And then he'll like do his like little kind of bow, and he will turn back to look at them.
We must go quickly.
And at that point, you feel your left buttocks cheek get pinched rather hard. And then she winks at you. As you are all fully healed, no poison, making your way out of the Court of Beggars and into the streets of Zamora. When you get out there, you hear the gongs of the city ringing everywhere. You see people fleeing, trying to find their way into their homes to lock their doors. And you hear the sounds of booted feet running through the streets. What would you like to do?
Must make our way to the gates. Sir Gaius waits for us.
Let's go ahead and let's get a stealth check if you want to go stealthy. If you don't want to go stealthy, then we will go ahead and go with an athletics check. And it'll work just like a stealth check. It'll be the person with the worst athletics will roll, or the worst stealth will roll.
Both my stealth athletics are 12.
11 for
I've
me.
got 8 stealth is my lowest.
So if you want to go stealthy, it's going to be Roya. It sounds like if you want to go using athletics, go quickly, it's going to be Sobek at 11.
I've got
It'll
10
be
for
me with
athletics.
8.
Athletics? I have 8.
Yeah,
Okay.
Zamir.
Okay,
Yeah.
so either Zamir or Aurelia can roll athletics, or Roya can roll stealth, depending on how you want to approach the city gates.
I still have 3 fortune,
You do.
so
Ooh,
I
that.
could roll stealth with a fortune
Mhm.
spent.
So that'll give you an
Guaranteed at
automatic
least.
1-on-1, so you'll get automatic 1 success at least.
Yeah. I actually got 3 successes.
Nice. So with the 3 successes, you are all actually very stealthily. You make your way through the shadowed streets. You get out of the mall. You get into the main area. You're making your way towards the gate. You're sliding into shadows right as temple guards and sept priests come broiling out, and you're able to make your way to the gate. And I will carry those 3 successes over. You're actually able to slip out the gate because the gates have been opened because guards are running out of the city walls. And you find yourself on the western road, on the western trade road, heading out towards the caravanserai. Since you were able to slip out without being noticed and you've killed Setenepre, we're going to shift time a little bit. It takes you the better part of 4 or 5 hours. You get to the caravanserai near the border, close to the city of Stegos, and you find your way in. There's a large wall around it. There's a pen for horses and cattle. You see wagons are laid up there. You see a series of war horses that are at hitching posts, and then you see the swinging doors that let you into the central room, the central tavern of this caravanserai. The second floor is filled with rooms for people spending the night. As you make your way in, it's well lit. People are laughing and drinking, and there's obviously some very road weary caravan masters in here. But you see sitting right in the center of the room your contact, and he's surrounded by 3 other knights of Mitra. And as you walk in, Gaius Atticus Rye looks up, and he's got a shocked look on his face at first, but then he stands and he's like, "Tell me you have good news."
Of course we do, or we wouldn't be here. We've retrieved the artifact.
"Show me the torque, please."
Zamir, you still have it.
Zamir will look at Drusus with a wry grin at such a question, and then he will, like a magician, just produce it from behind Drusus's ear somehow.
Again, but of course.
And he takes it from your hands, and he's like, and my brazier?
Ah, yes. I'll give that to him too.
I cannot tell you what you have done for our order. What we owe you is beyond words. Should you ever find yourself in a temple of Mitra, simply Hand them this if you need aid. And he hands you a platinum medallion of Mitra. And on the backside, it's got script that indicate it's his house and name. And he goes, they will know, all the followers of Mitra will know what you have done for us. We must ride, my friends. We must get across the border before anything else happens. And then he pulls up a chest, and it is the gold that he promised you, with the bonus for making it within the time frame. If you ever find yourself in lands who worship Mitra, please come to one of the temples and let us offer you sanctuary and redemption. And he looks over at you, Sobek, when he says that. But for now, we must be away. You may have our rooms if you wish to stay the night. They have already been paid for.
Yes, we've had a long day. A rest would be nice.
And they leave immediately, and you can hear them saddling their horses, and then you can hear the sound of horses galloping out of the caravanserai. And you're sitting at the table that has been recently vacated by the Knights of Mitra. What would you like to do?
What was the reward again?
Important
Gold.
details.
Yeah.
The important
How much was that gold?
I wrote it down. I just have to take it up my notes.
Yeah, I'll have to pull it up really quick. I think it was 10 gold apiece, with a bonus as well. But I'll pull it up and let you know before next week.
Sobek.
But you did promise your portion to Sobek, I think.
I remember. It was Demir.
Or
Oh,
Zamir.
no, it was Samir, yes. Samir is not forgotten.
But you're sitting here, you're exhausted. The barkeep brings drinks out for you and asks if you'd like any food. They still have a full menu. I mean, this is a very well appointed caravanserai. It's on the main trade road. It's the first stop on the way to Stegos from Zamora. So
Yeah, yes. Bring out your best. It's on me.
okay. So they go off to prepare their meals. Is there anything you guys want to discuss amongst yourselves?
Well, now that we are safe and preparing to eat, I would just like to thank all of you for coming to save me.
Of course, Sobek. We haven't seen you since the first night. Where have you been?
I went to a pool party.
And Roya, one of her nature is supportive, which is kind of like loyal in other games, and so Roya is just sort of had her head bowed a little bit, and I do feel bad for needing to leave you in the snake pit. I did not feel that there was much I could do at that point, but I am quite thankful that we were able to be reunited, and you appear to be in one piece.
I suppose all is well enough. I took care of Zoyos for you all.
Took care of him. I didn't realize he was a problem.
Did Roya tell you nothing?
It was.
It was an eventful.
Roya, you did tell them that I was being tortured by
Oh,
Zoyos
goodness.
in a snake
Roya.
pit.
Why would you not tell us this? Oh, Sobek, you poor man. You poor man.
We knew of your capture, but not of your condition.
Roy is
Well.
about to defend herself and just sort of just sits back, and it's like,
I assure you, Sobek, we had a very, very careful plan to free you before the end of the night. I assure you, had I known that torture, oh goodness, we would have come for you far sooner.
Perhaps, and he will kind of do the same kind of magic trick from behind Sobek's ear.
Perhaps this might ease some of the pain. A scroll we found during our adventures. Grandmother says it might be of particular interest to you. For free, my friend.
How generous. And I'll reach out and take it.
Okay. As you look at, so it's a long cylindrical scroll case. It's about 3 feet long, and it's a black obsidian case with etchings in it, and both ends are capped in silver. There's something tickling in the back of your mind about the script of this scroll case. Give me a lore check. Greater number of successes will give you a better understanding of what you're looking at.
Difficulty 1?
Yeah, just difficulty 1.
Just 1 success.
Okay, 1 success. You're not sure exactly what this details, but you recognize the language on the exterior of this scroll case is an ancient dialect, and you're not surprised that the followers of Set did not recognize it, because it is particular to your sect of Set worship, of Set Sobek worship, and seems to detail something about the life of a high priestess of your sect and of her tomb. But you can't quite get more out of it than that.
I wouldn't want to study too much more with the whole group here anyways.
Mhm.
I would try to cover it up and just keep it out of sight until I'm alone.
Okay. Now, as the evening starts to draw to a close, you know you have to get out of Zamora. The question is, where do you want to go from here? And I'll throw out some options. You can go anywhere in Hyboria, but Sobek, you know that if you're going to get this scroll case and potentially scroll inside of it translated, you're going to need to travel to Sukhmet in Stygia. There's an old temple library there that has some writings, and the librarian there may be able to translate this more thoroughly for you, if that's something you want to pursue. Other than that, you can travel to the Bosonian marshes, or anywhere to the west, north up to Asgard, or you can go east across Zamora, or north and out of Zamora and head to the Vilayet Sea. Where do you think you want to go?
Well, if the Temple of Set is a little bit interested in us, I think the best place we could go is right under their noses. It would be the last place they'd expect.
All the way to Sukhmet.
Yes, in Stygia.
I haven't been that far. It'd be quite an adventure.
Grandmother Wisp did warn about becoming entangled and drawing too much attention from those worshippers of Set, present company excluded, of course, Sobek. And since she was the one who healed our wounds and has aided us significantly, and without her help, I suspect none of us would have made it out of that party alive. Perhaps we should not discard her wisdom so quickly?
Wise words, Samir.
And so, as you sit around this table trying to decide where your journeys will take you, as long as they take you out of Zamora, we will fade back from our scene. And in 2 weeks, when we come back, you will find this group of rapscallions somewhere far from Zamora, and we'll be doing our carousing to start that session out. So everybody will get an opportunity to see how the carousing mechanics work in Conan. Everyone gets 300 experience points for surviving this adventure, so you'll get an opportunity to spend that. And in addition, all of you get a +1 to your renown as word spreads of a group of adventurers that not only defeated the will of Yezud, but also stole from the Temple of Set, from the very guardian serpent of Set, and laid low the high priestess, the priest torturer, and the coils of Set in the high priestess's home, as well as helping the cult of Mitra recover a lost reliquary. Their names are on the lips of many within Zamora and Koth and Shem and even Argos. So tune in 2 weeks to find out where we've set up our next Hyborian tale. We'll do some carousing, and then we'll see what kind of trouble we can get into in whatever part of the world we find ourselves. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Jeff, and you can tell us about what else is going on in the adventures of Lollygagging.
Awesome. Aaron, that was amazing. That was a lot of fun. I thought we were definitely dead. I wasn't sure I was going to I was waiting.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Long
Right?
to make the choice. I was like, are we fighting this snake or are we running? And I was just going to back you up in whatever you did. And like, if you started fighting, I would have started swinging and then we could go down together. That was awesome. Okay, so what are we doing next? Tomorrow, come hang out as we are back to One Ring 2nd edition. Not only that, but we have a special giveaway that we're going to be doing from Beetle and Grim as Maitre, our dear friend Maitre, who's now in the One Ring game, has gotten us the hookup. And so we're going to be giving away one of their GM journals, their Gamemaster's journals. So come hang out with us during One Ring, get your chance to win one of those. Then on Monday, another awesome event as Tracy Sizemore is back. As we are back to Holler. We are continuing the savior of Hollow Oak as Tracy. She's doing some guest jamming for about 2 or 3 sessions. So we're going to continue that. And I gotta double check with Eric from Norse Foundry, but we're planning a dice giveaway as well, and it might be Monday. I just got to have a confirmation of that before we commit. And then on Tuesday, Stephen, what are we doing?
We're doing some more Forbidden Lands. Some of the people here in these windows, I don't know where I am, will be in Forbidden Lands. Melissa, Aaron, Jeff. And Melissa's gotten herself into a little bit of trouble in that game. It seems to be a record for her lately, so we'll see how she gets out of that.
Indeed. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought going up to a couple kids and be like, here's my weapon. Try to take it out of my hands. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that's a bad decision? Who would have
I thought for myself.
In my
Right?
mind, it was quite
Just imagining
fun.
that.
It was amusing.
Oh, it was
just
crazy
a friendly
fun.
orc playing with elf children. Exactly what you would
Crazy
expect.
fun. This big, powerful looking
Yeah.
orc wandering up these delicate elf children and being like, "Hey, kids, you want to see a dead body? Like, what the hell is that?"
No,
I know for sure. I mean, I
no.
was like, this is definitely going to work out
Oh goodness.
just fine.
Oh my
Just
god.
fine. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And then next Friday, we'll be back to Blade Runner as we are closing in on the end of that. I think we have maybe 2 sessions left of Blade Runner before we call it quits. Had some big reveals in the last session. So we're going to be back to Blade Runner. And then in 2 weeks, we'll return on Friday to more Conan for 2 more Hyborian tales. So with that in mind, thank you to everyone who hung out tonight. Thank you for those of you who are watching this later on YouTube or on VOD. We greatly appreciate the support. If you haven't checked out the YouTube page, go ahead and check it out. Adventures in Lollygagging over on YouTube. We got all sorts of games, both current games that are running and games that we've been running for the past couple of years. Tons of playlists over there. We also have a few games out on podcast form. So if you want to look wherever you get podcasts, you can look for things like Adventures in Lollygagging, Waking in Angmar, Lollygagging on the Orient Express if you're interested in Call of Cthulhu. But with that, we're going to rate our buddies over at Defenders of Kobold. And yeah, that's it. Good night, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Good night.